Hello everyone. Before we get started on this week's episode, just a quick word that YouTube in all its infinite wisdom has decided that some of the Die Party games are now not suitable for advertising. It doesn't mean a whole lot for the content. I'm not going to censor the videos in any way, but if you'd like to lend your support so that Die Party can continue to grow, please check out the Patreon or subscribe on the Twitch channel. Enjoy the episode. Oh, hello everyone. Welcome back to Die Party Dead Men's Crest week number... I don't fucking know.
Fart noise, apparently.
Week
number one.
Week number 100. We've played this game for 100 weeks.
No, I mean like literally week one. We're starting over. We're starting from the beginning.
What?
Well, I mean, a new beginning. It's a new beginning.
But all that work that I put in to become the cook, the ship's cook, and all that work that Henley put into steal papers from a dying man.
I'm not resetting the narrative unless you guys want to, in which case we can just roll back all of that work, as you say, with some amount of sarcasm.
No, I think we're good. Hey everyone, welcome back to Die Party Dead Man's Crest, a weekly game right here on Twitch. Yeah. So normally we play 7C Second Edition. However, due to unforeseen consequences with lovely esteemed GM having some issues getting along with the flow and pace of how a 7C Second Edition game is supposed to run, we are being adults about it. Moving on. So without further ado, let's introduce players and GM. Let's start off with Mr. Jonas. What up, sir? How you doing? How's your face?
I'm doing well. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be an adult about this. I'm going to write very many angry letters to 7C's Second Edition.
Whoa.
That my therapist tells me not to send, but I'm going to send them anyway. I'm going to Facebook stalk 7th Edition.
Your therapist tells you to write the letters, but not send them.
Yeah, I'm going to send them anyway, because, I mean, what does my therapist know? And if 7C's Second Edition ever ends up with any other set of role players, I'm going to go break their kneecaps, and I'm going to tell them...
7th Edition, Second Edition 7Cs, you stay away from me and my son.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Finally got to play some of that sweet South Park Fractured Butthole.
Oh yeah. How you feeling it, man?
I'm digging it. I'm liking it. I can see what people are saying in terms of it not being terribly difficult. Even on.
Are you playing a African American character who is a combat master? Are you playing an African American character who is a combat master?
I am indeed.
Good.
I am a ginger African American with full beard at 9 years old, in a full shark suit, punching my enemies to death.
I enjoy the writing of that game a lot more than the first. It's less shock and more actual South Park, which is good.
Yeah, it's actual. Hey, there's some character development and story, as opposed to, look, testicles. Testicles are funny. I mean,
testicles are pretty funny.
It's hilarious. Like, we get it, but where do you go from a giant set of testicles? I mean,
down.
The shin bones, the sexiest form of a man.
I feel like we're in a very weird place right now. I don't know why.
It's because I started talking and then Henley added, and there are mature players in Die Party, people who, when Henley prompts them to to go down a rabbit hole.
They follow
Don't.
willingly.
I grab Henley's hand and frolic down the penis fields.
Yeah.
It's
Too much frolicking for my cup of tea.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
less like running through a field of wheat and more like running through a field of sugar cane. But you know, it's field of penises all the same.
it's penises, you know. giant dildo cane. It's
So yeah, you've been streaming that? Is that the thing you've been focusing on, or?
well, so I agreed to play a scary game for my chat because I don't play scary games. I don't like them. I haven't ever liked them. They're not my thing. But I agreed for 5,000 followers that I would play one.
Oh, congratulations on the 5K, man.
Thank you very much. So the chat voted on Alien Isolation, and I played.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I played about 6 hours of that, and apparently in 6 hours, I got to roughly the end of the tutorial, the very first mission where you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's a fucking enormous game, and it was
Yeah.
a slug for me, dude. It was like, I can, like, if the game was half the time, it would have been like, okay, good game. But it's so long. Dude, it's like 28 hours.
yeah.
It's a
So
fucking monster.
here's the deal. I don't like those kind of games.
Okay,
Just-
are you
just
getting
bother
frightened? Are you getting frightened?
I don't like being scared neither.
I was I react to jump scares
Yeah.
as a oh shit you mother truckers, but I was not actually frightened by the alien or anything of that nature. It was more like, hey, there's a tense atmosphere and a freaking monitor blew up because it was loud and startling. But what happened to me is I got to the part where the alien's hunting you. You're in the hospital trying to do whatever the hell you were trying to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, walk 4 feet. Shit, I've got to hide because the alien's here. Hide for 10 minutes. Okay, let's move. And like I did that for like 40 minutes and almost got to the end. And then I took my hand off the keyboard while I was hiding in a locker so I could take a drink. And that's when the alien decided he wanted to attack. And I didn't hit the right mouse button soon enough. So he ripped me out of the locker and ate my face.
Yep.
And then I proceeded to do that mission like 7 more times.
Yep.
Getting increasingly more frustrated.
Yep.
And then I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. So, you know, that's $30 I'm not going to get back.
So those particular parts in the game, my only suggestion is like, don't give a fuck about the alien, just sprint. And then, but here's the thing: if you do that, you'll ruin the game for yourself, like I did. Like I'm a creature of like, I find fucking like repetitive motions very annoying because I take note of them super easily. So by like halfway through the game, I could be like, now, and then the alien would pop out, right? Like I had it down to a fine fucking T. I could just fucking, I'd be like, okay, the alien's gonna come out. I'd pull out the Molotov and just be like, whoosh. And before the alien drops out of the hole, I would hit the alien with a Molotov. You know, like it was just, that game was just so, it got to the point where it's like, okay, it's incredibly predictable now, and it's just an effort in annoyance, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that they put great effort in the environment. They put great effort in the music. Like, if you liked those kind of games and you wanted to like feel real tense and hunted, I imagine that game could probably do it for you.
Yeah, you should have played System Shock too.
Wasn't even part of the list. They came up with like 13 different games and all voted on them.
It's the problem with modern fucking horror games. It's just like, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah. Well, James, CUK, my man, how you doing? Good to see you again.
I'm good. I had 2 hours sleep, so I'm actually probably less tired than I normally am.
Oh. Well, that's awesome. I've had... Yeah, about the same. I think you and me were like, we should fist bump. Or like what is it done like that? I go punch down.
Is it towards the camera? I don't know. I don't know.
James, you have to go up you got to go up into the corner, and he's got to come down to the other corner.
Oh shit! Hang on. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Hang on.
Other side.
Is that the right way? Is that the right way?
Other direction.
Other-
There you go. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Touched fist. Can you feel it? You feel it?
I feel dirty now. I feel like we frolicked a bit.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Just happened. I just saw it on stream. You guys nailed it. Took some time.
Stop dabbing, Doc. I beg you.
I didn't even come close to a dab.
It's cool.
I put both. I did this. I put both my hands in the air. That's the Usain Bolt thing. Like that's not even a like. You have to bow and put your. Never mind.
All right, take your memes and throw them in the trash because I'm talking to James. James, what have you been up to, my man?
I've been playing Skyrim.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, were you just going through your library one day and just went, fuck it, man?
Well, I fancied playing it. Do you know what I mean? You know when you get the urge to play it because I haven't played it for ages. And
I do that sometimes, and then I sit through the fucking introduction. I'm like, nope, and I just fucking turn it off.
Well, no, because I was going to continue playing the playthrough that I'd started about a year ago, or however bloody long ago it was, and I was like level 54.
Mm-hmm.
But my Brotherhood Crest had bugged out. Cicero, the jester bloke, he wouldn't turn up at the bloody sanctuary, so I looked all around Skyrim for him offline, trying to find him, couldn't find him. I was like, I really want to play this again, but
just fucking teleport him in, man. Just be like, bloop.
Yeah.
I tried.
Every once in a while, you gotta do that.
I tried console fixing it, like advancing the Dark Brotherhood Quest line, but it still didn't work. So I started a new character. I didn't clear my wipe at my original save. I've still got it.
That's good.
I played that for what, 8 hours, I think, nearly.
Have you seen the flowchart? So before you say what type of character you're playing, there is a flowchart that exists online, and I don't know who fucking told me about it, but I know it was someone that I talk to regularly about like how long it takes for a player in Skyrim to go and play bow and arrows and sneak.
Oh, instantly, for me.
Yeah, like
I'm always sneak.
But the flowchart always leads to it. Regardless of what you do, you always end up either sneaking or with bow and arrows.
Flowchart of Skyrim character creation.
Not this guy.
I don't like just charging in. I don't like just throwing, because
That's
you
the
might bite
best
more
part.
than you.
The
you might
best
bite.
part of the goddamn game is getting a big ass hammer and charging at people and crushing them in the face.
But the
you die.
combat sucks so much with melee weapons. It's just like
That's so fun.
I disagree. I think melee weapons are great.
no, I love swinging big hammers, but like I think the fucking considering how long you play Skyrim for, that combat sucks donkey dick.
I think
the mod that lets you fist everything to death.
I think the funniest thing is like there are those missions where it's like, look, I can get you into the palace, but I can only bring like one piece of gear, and then you're like, here's my battle axe, and it's like, and it glows, and it like there's blood pouring off of it like magically, and they're like, okay, I snuck it in. It's in this satchel. And
It's with the potatoes. They never noticed.
then you take it out, and you're still wearing your fake servant's clothes because it's like a sneak-in thing. And then you've got this battle axe over your shoulder, and you're like still sneaking. Like I'm not ready to reveal that I'm a bat. Like ooh, and you walk past somebody, and they're like, "Hey, who are you looking at?"
Slaves shouldn't be in this section of the castle.
Meanwhile, it just cuts back, and there's like evil literally pouring off of my battle axe. I'm like, yes, I am just a slave.
I found this battle axe in the potatoes. I thought maybe I could just take it home as a severance.
What is that on your back? It's like, it's my potato peeler. Keep going.
It's a potato. Very clearly a potato.
This is my family's sacred and ancient potato peeler. It's very special to us. It's been passed down the line of servants for generations.
I recently tried to play Morrowind. That game is a fucking hot mess. Like it's a great. it's a great game, but goddamn, I stopped playing because I'm just like, okay, that's the fucking 17th crash in a row. No, thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's not how it was. That's just how it is now because it's so hard to get these game.
Yeah, modern PCs just ruin things.
You have to have a re-release. Like, you have to get someone to go in there and fix up the code.
It's Bethesda, man. They're re-releasing Skyrim without changing it. So they just want that.
No.
They're
added more detail to the leaves.
And they're releasing it in VR. Duh.
I mean, it already works in VR.
I mean, the game industry's fucked, but hey, that's my opinion.
So I played. The only thing I changed about my Morrowind was I put in like a texture update mod and like a UI descaler because I have like a 4K monitor. It would be fucking enormous on my screen if I didn't have it. Like, aside from that, like that's the only thing that I changed, and it got to the point where the saves got so enormous that it just kept crashing. It's like. Yeah. Oh well, it's fine. Just go play Oblivion and live forever. You know.
So after doing 8 hours of Skyrim, a new fresh character, someone said you should try the unofficial mod. That might fix it. So I tried the unofficial mod and it fixed the bug.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
But yeah. Who knows?
There is a mod, Total Conversion, so it's been worked on for so long that I was working in the modding scene on ModDB when it was in production. It's a German Total Conversion, like fully voiced by like actors and shit like that, and it completely changes like the landscape and adds like a new story. I forget what it's fucking called, and it's apparently very, very good for Skyrim that I would maybe consider playing, but like I'm gonna try and find it now. But yeah, that's the only thing that would ever bring me back to Skyrim.
Way to go, James. Now Henley's got to go find that thing, and then he's got to play Skyrim again. Well, he's going to be some sneaking, arching bastard.
Enderroll.
You got to frolic with Henley. I get to send him into the deepest, darkest depths of the internet.
Yeah, it's good.
Tie party is canceled, put on hold indefinitely while Henley goes back into Skyrim.
It's called Enderroll. There you go, found it.
Kind of like Adderall.
A little, yeah. You can tell how old this game is because it has like a mascot that I made 1,000,000 years ago on the fucking front page as an award for how good it is. Yeah.
What mascot did you make? 2012 or 13 or 14?
All of them. All of them.
He was in charge of ModDB, so those are his mascots.
Yeah. From Mod of the Year and shit. Anyway, Wreckage, my man. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, sir?
Terrible. Everything is falling apart where I am. My life is literally coming to a cataclysmic disaster scenario, but let's not talk about that. Instead, we're going to talk about the disaster that was 7C 2nd edition.
I don't know if disaster is the word I would use because I feel like I would be pretty comfortable GMing it. I think you have to be a particular type of GM to.
I am not going to talk about whether or not you would be good at it. I'm going to talk about how with 4 or 5 people and every attempt made for a lot of energy, several of us and myself, most importantly, still don't really understand how that game is supposed to be played. So instead, we are today, our episode of Dead Man's Crest is converting our characters and the setting into Savage Worlds, which can run anything and is good. I use the word good very, very, very specifically, as in it's not great, it's not amazing, it's not perfect, it's good. So, with that in mind, let us, player characters, open our Savage World PDFs and our character sheets from the Sunless Sea game.
Sunless Sea.
Because
Sunless Sea.
sorry, 7C.
I mean, Sunless Sea is an okay game, but
No, Wreckage intended to make a tabletop version of that game, and it's triggered me.
We had a little, I'm happy with that experiment. I'm glad we did the experiment. Certain things caused that experiment to fail, and it was sad, but it's
you don't have to tiptoe around my feelings, Wreckage. I know that I caused it to fail.
You weren't even a die party actor yet.
What was this? Sunless Sea?
We had several people who were big fans of Sunless Sea, and we were like, let's do a Sunless Sea RPG, and let's write it from scratch. Like, let's write.
Someone actually produced. I'm not sure.
No, we were doing it.
Oh, okay.
And all the people who were into Sunless Sea in the game were like, yeah, let's make it work. And then we brought other die party actors in who were just die party actors, and they just kept getting frustrated with like the process. And then eventually everybody said they hated each other and killed each other and left.
That went well.
And that's why me and Dave are dead.
Yeah, on the inside.
We've been dead this whole time.
It's true.
But luckily, that cleansing of die party actors led to great actors such as James and Prylar joining us. So
I wouldn't include myself in great actors, but okay, sure.
Well, I just did. So
I'll go for the American positivity. Thank you very much. I'm English. We're cynical bastards.
And that's why you lost the Empire.
It's true.
What empire?
To the rebel scum, you know?
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah,
We believed we could do it, and so we did.
Ungrateful sods throwing their tea in the fucking water.
I was talking about Star Wars, but you know, I mean,
okay.
That too.
That tea wasn't free or anything.
Someone had to pay for that tea, and it was Britain.
Anyway,
Sacrilege, that was.
Anyway, at this point, you should have been given in the new Savage Worlds game a character sheet. It doesn't have your character's name on it. You'll.
Oh God.
You're responsible.
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat my Polish chocolate.
Whoa.
It's chocolate.
XXL.
Is that
XXL?
a Twix? Is that equivalent of a Twix?
It does look a lot like a Twix.
It's not a Twix at all.
Prince Polo.
Prince
It does have the colors of Twix, but what does it do?
It's basically
I imagined it is chocolate and provides caloric intake.
It's basically wafers with hazelnut in it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
What's Polish chocolate like? Because American chocolate's horrendous.
You take that back.
American chocolates.
Also, yeah, he's not wrong, Wreckage.
I mean, like,
not terribly good at chocolate.
The milk chocolate in America is kind of
like sick. Yeah.
The milk chocolate in America that is mass produced by a particular company is bad.
Hershey's is it's okay. I mean, it's not amazing. It's good melted, but like that's you're asking the guy who doesn't have taste buds to tell you what a fucking American chocolate tastes like. It's like, yeah, man, it's okay. It tastes like chocolate.
Yes, Fate is free and amazing, and we had a game ever so briefly.
What?
I'm talking to the chat. Audience interaction. So, open your peepers to your Savage World PDF, and you're going to want to head over to page 16, which is character creation. And obviously, we're not creating characters here per se, but it is still the correct order of operations with which to, pursue the situation.
Each character starts with a D4, and each attribute has 5 points with it to raise them. Raising a D4 to a D6, for example, costs 1 point. Huh?
Right,
So
you
each die type costs a point to raise. So everything starts at D4. If you want
Okay.
to go to a D6,
So does
costs
that mean
1 point
I could spend 5 points
in
raising
one
it
attribute? If you can go that high, D4, D6, D8, D10.
You're free to spend these points however you want, with one exception: no attribute may be raised above a D12.
Ah,
Uh,
so I can't just go from D12 to D20 to D100 because that's
D20s
like
aren't
really
don't think Savage Worlds use anything higher than D20s really, and that's only really like supernatural things that.
I just want to roll a D100 for a stat, James. Just don't kill
I
me.
mean, you've done that, and we've shown.
And it's gone terribly for me.
Yeah.
so these points in particular should be fairly intuitive for your characters, just because you know what your characters do and are. There's a bunch more minutia about the way that the Savage World system actually works that might be relevant. For example, when your base attribute that is tied to a particular skill is a D8, if you want to increase the skill to a D10, it costs more than. So, like, it costs more advancements to do something past its base attribute.
You mean outside of character creation?
Yeah, like at all. Well, in character creation as well. So anytime you are doing skills and their derivatives and etc., like it sort of it builds on itself, and your basis thing needs to be that high, but it doesn't stop you from raising that thing. It just increases the cost of doing it. So you.
Oh, right. You're talking about skills. Okay, I see what you're saying. So, like, if you wanted to go from, like, an agility skill, you'd have to have, like, a D10 in it to even attempt to have a skill higher above X, whatever.
Well, no, you can. So you can always raise your skill, but it costs more if your base attribute isn't that high.
Okay.
Then, so after you choose the points that you have in the attributes, then you get derived stats from those attributes.
So do you want? So before we go, like charging in and doing whatever, do you want us to build our characters with the same themes that we had in 7th Sea, but in the rules of Savage Worlds?
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Yeah,
Is that
we're
going to be the easiest way?
We're just converting them over, man.
So, in my opinion, the easiest way is to open your character sheet in 7th Sea, see how you made, in the case of I'm opening Prylor's character sheet, Brawn was my biggest stat. So then you go back to Savage Worlds and be like, in that case, strength is, or maybe vigor is going to be my biggest base attribute, and just
probably be the 2 though, wouldn't it, for Brawn?
Right.
So agility is nimbleness, quickness,
and
smarts
dexterity,
is measured of how well your character knows his world,
and culture,
and how well he thinks on his feet. Spirit reflects inner wisdom and willpower. Strength is raw physical power, general fitness. It is also used to generate your warrior's damage in hand-to-hand combat. And vigor represents endurance, resistance to disease, poison, and toxins, and how much pain and physical damage a hero can shake off.
It's worth noting, because the book also notes it, that spirit is a special attribute in that it will come up slightly more often than other things for there's we're going to talk about it later, but there's a shaken state that you can get into, and spirit stops that.
Spirit
it's also
seems to be used
fear
for
and
social
resistance
stuff as well, according to when I was quickly looking at the skills
Uh-huh.
to help Prylor and not Prylor, Eugene and stuff. And he was saying, so what attribute does you use for being nice to people? Because there is a charisma derived stat, but that starts at 0 unless you have any edges. But you also, if you look at the skills, I'll find it. Like intimidation uses spirit.
Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to be particularly charismatic, the likely things that would be relevant would be smarts and spirit.
Yeah. Okay.
Persuasion is spirit for
Okay,
some reason.
so
Seems a bit weird of an attribute to choose, but hey, that's what happens when you condense like 8 attributes down to.
so
6.
here,
For you in particular, you want to be charismatic, so we need to talk about what it means to have a charisma still.
yeah, I mean here's my issue, specifically with my character.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 3 in brawn, so I'm reasonably strong. 2 in finesse and wits, so I'm, not terribly agile or terribly smart. 1 in resolve, and then 4 in panache. The problem is resolve. It seems like resolve would be spirit. So if spirit is also charisma, then by putting points into spirit, I'm not making the same character. Because suddenly my character is strong, the thing that he was weakest in, just with how those things roll together.
Well, there's 2 things for that.
I mean, I don't mean to be a
Right.
No,
I see what you're saying. I totally get it. The conversion definitely isn't perfect because they don't just have the exact same 5 attributes, and that's just where we're gonna be at with that.
I mean, like for example, I'm in the same boat, right? My character in Seventh Seas is pretty much anything that leveled up over 2 with finesse and wits, right? But just by how this breaks down, mental agility and basically how much I can take mentally, I guess. That's sort of how I look at my character. So I've gone agility 10, smarts and spirits at D6, and strength and vigor at D4. So, but that's the thing. Like, if I do this right, this is the thing that breaks down, right? If I do this, how is it that like if I get into a sword fight, I'm gonna be fucking awful. I'm just like because of the fact that strength is now related to combat, whereas in Seven Seas it's related to whatever you say it's related to. Like if you,
I'm pretty sure there's ability or agility based fighting in Savage Worlds. In fact, fighting literally is agility. It's not strength.
Oh no, but it generates the damage.
Is it not? Hang on. Oh god.
Fighting agility. So your agility stat will actually be good, and your fighting will be good. Literally, whether fights with swords or martial arts, agility is the stat.
Mm-hmm.
But I was supposed to be like this massive brick. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
So another way that you might want to come at this, again, because the conversion isn't perfect, you might want to go to the skill list and see the skills that you want to be good in and what their derivative attributes are.
Where's the skill? Oh, skill list. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little bit further down. So it's
boating as a skill is an agility-based skill, so James is going to have to put points into agility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to have to completely change the concept of the character.
You don't have to change the concept. You can roleplay your faults still. Like, it's not going to be like.
So maybe what we should do instead of trying to worry so much about the stats, because that's not going to transfer over, is like was said earlier. Try to focus on the skills that are important to the character and just go from there.
Because, and this is one thing that's positive about this. There's 2 things that are going to help out here. The first thing is that in Savage Worlds, your skills are somewhat divorced from your base attributes. What the dice is in the skill is what's important. The base attribute isn't as important. So getting the correct skills doesn't necessarily mean that that attribute has to be very high. Secondarily, Savage Worlds has a custom race creation system, which is pretty straightforward. It's just another layer to edges and hindrances, really. And we're going to get to edges and hindrances. But we can easily make up for, because all of you basically made characters that were indicative of your home nations. And originally in 7th Sea, those home nations had racial bonuses that we tried to figure out. And those are actually represented on your character sheets that you're trying to convert right now. In Savage Worlds, it's basically just another way to give you edges and hindrances, and those will bring you even closer to what you already made. Right? Because right now, like, you're like, oh, I've got all this brawn. Well, it's like some of that brawn came from your racial bonus. And so making up for some of that difference will come from basically creating your race again, only in Savage Worlds. More, your nation, your culture.
So I ended up going agility D6, spirit D10, strength D6. And I'm just going to choose vigor as the in general vigor to represent the lack of resolve. That's where I'm going with that.
Okay.
I've gone agility D12 and spirit D6. Mostly because I'm looking at the skills and everything that was Ricardo, which is lockpicking, stealth, agility stuff, agility based stuff, which is he's a very his whole thing was being graceful, right?
Right, physically graceful.
Physically graceful, and that's pretty much agility as far as I can tell.
And not necessarily socially graceful, but spirit, having a little bit of spirit will,
crap.
Yeah, make him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like intimidation, that sort of stuff, persuasion,
I'm actually dropping spirit to D8 and smarts to putting smarts up to D6 because healing is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna get more points as we go along, so don't worry.
I'm just trying to, like Henley, I'm trying to get the things that made Eric son of Eric
more important than what your attributes were, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to make sure that the skills that he has are represented.
Yeah, I'm looking at this from the perspective of what am I going to be rolling the most, and what do I want that dice to look like? Power gaming essentially.
I got you.
Yeah.
What did I go for? I might play around with it a bit more, but so far agility D6, smarts D4, because obviously dumb. Spirit D6, strength D6, and vigor D8, but I might move that round to strength, but I'm not sure. It's going to be, the two stats should be tied quite closely together.
Nothing should be set. Nothing has to be set in stone right now. We will get the hang of it, especially once we get a little bit of play in, which I'm sure we will probably.
I'm really interested to see how vigor means health in this game, because I don't know what health is in this game or how it affects people, because to a certain degree, I don't think any of us are sickly. And I think a D4 of vigor, whatever health that might be
I think that just represents an average human.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, isn't that what it said at the beginning? It's just like D4 is just your average dude.
Does it?
Let's, there is this, I will give me a moment to find that exact line. D6 is the average for a adult human. Which is, and if you wanted, we're making characters at character creation level. So you could just be D6, 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 D6 and be an average adult human, right? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that's
skills.
That's so weird that it wouldn't start out at average and then allow you to dip down. That's so
weird. I mean, you would think that
you start off mentally incapable, and then you could you know what I mean?
Your base character is shit.
Yeah,
worse than the average human on every level, and if you
that's a lot of
every
games,
point,
isn't it?
you can become average at everything.
If you spend all your points, you can be a basic human being. You know?
And instead, you've chosen to be a savant in one thing and shitty in everything else. I mean, it's a fair way of doing character creation, in my opinion. I don't think you.
We're not allowed to chuckle at the system.
I'm just. This is we're voicing opinions.
Imagine if this was a video game. It's like, this is character creation. Right now, you're kind of mentally incapable of anything.
So you have 15 skill points to distribute among your skills. Each die type costs 1 point, as long as the skill is equal to or less than the attribute it's linked to. If you exceed the attribute, the cost becomes 2 points per die type. So this is a way where, especially James, can make stone really good at repair, but not smart. If he wants it to reflect it that way, because he can put his points into repair, and it costs double. But
I will try and build the characters as best I can in the system as well.
Right. Well, and I'm just saying, I'm giving an example, especially.
If I've got any points left, then I'll think about like bumping up everywhere else, if that makes any sense. Because I don't want to be like handicapped from the start because I'm spending like
double points to get fucking
double points.
Yeah. Right? Exactly. I'm with you, man. So, you say you can go up to your trait level. So
no, you can go past your trait level.
But every dice past your trait level costs 2 skill points instead of 1.
Okay.
And you have 15 to
So
start.
if you have D6 and something, it's 1 point to get to D6.
Do you want to know?
And 2 to get to D8.
So if I'm rolling lockpicking, is it my agility dice, which is a D12, plus my lockpicking skill?
Yes. So you roll so if you've got D6 in whatever it's called,
lockpicking,
right? You roll a D12 and a D6, and do you?
Oh, are skills actually another dice type?
Yeah, and then you roll a D6 as well because of the wild dice, because we're special people, so we get an additional D6 to roll, and each time you roll a maximum dice number on that dice, it aces, you get to roll again, and there's raises. You can get raises in the system as well, where if you get I can't remember what it is in Savage Worlds, but in Deadlands Classic it used to be every 5 above the target number was a raise. Each raise allows you to do something a little bit more special, like if you was trying to shoot someone in the head, if you got like 4 raises, you could just shoot him through the eye or something. Do you know what I mean? That's what it allows you to do. I think it's free in this game.
The newer editions tamp down a bit on some of that, so we will get to how all of that.
Is there fencing styles in the game?
There are edges and hindrances, which might reflect that, and
because I'm looking at the skill for fighting on the sheet, and it actually says fencing styles and schools, which is something my character had in Savage Worlds. Not Savage Worlds, 7 Seas. Right.
That might be something that's added to.
Well, there's also a whole chapter about combat rules for maneuvers that your warrior might attempt.
Right.
So we're gonna comb our way through. We're gonna take our time.
So here's a bit of trivia about Savage Worlds and how they came to Savage Worlds. So Deadlands, classic Deadlands, they made a war game called Rail Wars. So it's a miniature war game, and from that set of rules, because it was a cut down version of classic Deadlands, from that they came to Savage Worlds. There you go. That's my bit of trivia for you.
Is there like thieving skills in this game, or is it literally just lockpicking?
It should be.
No, it's not. There's no like sleight of hand or anything. It's just like lockpicking, and that's it.
Stealth, streetwise.
I got stealth. I got lockpicking. I got stealth, but there's no like.
Stealth is the ability to both hide and pick pockets.
What the fuck? Really? Okay.
It's literally the first sentence of stealth.
I haven't read any of this stuff. What I'm doing is I'm going through my 7 Seas one, and then I'm just clicking all the skills on the other sheet so I can see what we have.
Got it.
Like,
And each skill that we're adding is one of our 15, right?
you get 15 skill points. You don't
Yes,
have
but
to
don't
to
have that.
add skill costs a skill point.
Right.
Yeah.
And unless you're going past your base attribute in that skill, in which case it costs 2.
Yeah, I haven't got. I've looked at skills. I haven't spent any points yet, so we'll get 15.
It's fine.
Oh, gym roll. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Right. So we'll look at things. I don't like the fact I have to keep clicking from one thing to the other to look at.
You
my
can pop it
attributes.
out and just have it on a second window.
I know. I mean, like the attributes are one page, and then I need to click over to my skills. To just look at what's my maximum, before I have to start spending 2 points in each skill. Does that make any sense?
Are
Yeah.
we gonna? So one of the things they have in Seven Seas was the aim skill, which related to guns. Are we gonna have like a guns gonna be as lethal as they were in Seven Seas? Like how are we handling guns and all that?
We can't replicate the lethality of guns in this system from Seven Seas. We never encountered them either, so it's not really something that.
Yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is, can I take guns?
Yeah, it was a shooting ability.
Yeah. So hold up. If I take guns, can I just like shoot guns as part of combat as natural as like using a sword? It's not going to be a problem in this game to have like flint powdered guns or whatever the fuck they called them.
So there's always Savage Worlds provides a lot of information about various settings. I do believe there are like flintlock pistols that talk about being reloaded. You're gonna have to reload them. Like narratively, you can't just fire them over and over.
No,
and over again.
obviously I understand that. Like,
Right. Yeah, but you will just be able to take it and shoot it the once, and
Mhm.
you will just use your shooting ability, and it will still just work the way that it works.
okay. Other thing that I need to know.
Sure.
In lieu of having a skill, like say swimming, if I
Uh-huh.
fall in the ocean, what happens?
Well, so you would the first place that I would check is the swimming skill section to see if it says if you don't have this, you can't swim at all.
I'd imagine you would roll untrained, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like you would just roll the base attribute of agility without the swimming skill, and as long as you got.
Okay, so
Well,
it's just.
I mean, it might even just come down to the GM deciding if in this particular setting, if there would be if you can or can't, if you don't have the skill in swim, whether you can swim or not. I don't know.
Swimming determines if the character floats or sinks in water.
I mean, it does say that. So, and a lot of sailors, even especially in this era, did not know how to swim. And
I know, but
Dave's character especially has no particular reason to know how to swim. So if he doesn't put points in that, that's fine and relevant.
Yeah.
I'm being called off, and it's the top of the hour. So hold on a sec. Why don't we just take a break while we're doing skills anyway?
Okay. Let's go back to doing this shit.
So, I've got some skills, and I'm going to talk about them. And Wreckage can tell me if I did it wrong. So, I have taken fighting, and I've put it at a D6. I've taken gambling, and I've put it at a D6.
How many? We get
I've
15.
taken
15?
Hmm?
We get 15?
Yes.
Okay.
And spending 1 point in it gives you the D4. So I've spent 2 points in fighting, 2 points in gambling, 2 points in healing, more than that in persuasion. I have put persuasion to a D10. My maximum spirit is a D8. So I spent 3 points to get it to a D8 and then 2 additional points. So 5 total to take it to a D10. I have taken riding to a D6, which is 2 more, and survival to a D6, which is 2 more. So that's 5 skills at a D6 and 1 skill at a D10 for a total of 15 points.
Well done. Maths.
Oh, my math's just so hard.
All right.
I'm really hoping we find some horses at some point. Otherwise, this riding skill is not going to be terribly useful.
You could ride the bow of the ship.
I'm going to put a saddle on you, Stone, and I'm going to ride you into battle.
Got him.
Fuck off.
Got him. Got him.
Or not battle. Who knows? I don't know where the sea's going to take us, but any port in a storm.
Look. Filth. Yes, you heard that right. Filth.
All right. So here's what I've got.
But he didn't say no.
Well, as you said,
when
every
you say
hole's a
no.
goal.
Yeah, that's it. My man. He knows what's up. He knows what's up. He knows what's up. Let me get rid of these real quick. Okay. All right. So let me just do my math on this because I think I might be off a couple of points. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I'm off 2 points. Okay. Okay. So I have. I don't know how useful Streetwise is going to be because we've been on a boat, right? Like. So,
Well, it doesn't mean literal streets, Dave.
no, I understand that. I see Streetwise as like knowing contacts and stuff like that and shit like that.
No, streetwise usually isn't. I mean, it may include contacts in. Well, I mean, let's read it instead of talking out of our patuki. Characters are able to gather information from streets, saloons, or other contacts through bribes, threats, or carousing. Finding written information in libraries and the like is covered by the investigation. So, Streetwise is always modified by a character's charisma modifier. Streetwise
Charisma
is,
modifier? What the fuck is a charisma modifier?
It starts at 0 unless you have things to modify it.
and then it
Next.
makes you. Yep.
Oh, I see. You scroll up and it does things automatically. Right.
Anyway, the point is, Streetwise is not just like having a contact and knowing it. It's like Streetwise is something a thief has. It's like growing up on the streets and being wise to the streets, almost as if the name implies. So anywhere you go, like even the seedy underbelly of Tortuga, or the if you were on a perhaps less morally upstanding pirate vessel, right? Like Streetwise would be a good way to find out Streetwise would be a good way right now even to find out who is doing the gambling or the selling the extra rum.
Sure. I get it.
If there was that sort of thing going on.
So 2 things. I've changed my spirit from a D6 to a D4 and changed my smarts from a D4 to a D6. I have taken fighting at D8, lockpicking at D10, notice at D4, persuasion at D4, shooting D4, stealth at D10, and streetwise at D4. That's 15 by my count.
I ain't even done because stuff. You can move on if you don't, if you want to. I'm just trying to think what additional skills I will have.
None of this is set in stone. We're just trying to get the audience to follow along.
Got him.
Yep. We're just trying to get the audience to follow along a little bit so that they have a footing for when we start doing all of this shit in, as we go. So if you're still making decisions or if you want to make decisions that you're not certain of, that's fine too. We will have plenty of leeway for making changes as we discover that the system works differently.
Okay.
Still got 5 points to spend.
Just get a bunch of skills at D4 because it gives you a whole extra dice. That is some fucking good odds right there. You get an extra 1 to 4 on a skill for just putting 1 point in it.
It's a good investment.
It's a good investment.
I'm gonna get piloting so I can pilot airships.
Nice.
I'm really good at that. Really, but they're not invented yet. Does that work?
I mean, this is Final Fantasy, right? We have an airboat.
I mean, technically, I can't say with absolute certitude that sort of thing won't show up.
Are you using guts in this game?
Guts is not part of Savage Worlds anymore. They edited it out of Savage Worlds.
Spirit, it could include it if you wish to or something.
No, it says if you need to use Guts, you're using Spirit instead.
What's the Guts?
Guts was an old thing. Yeah, it was. Now Spirit is just what you use to resist fear, and if like you're running an older module that calls for a Guts check, you just make a Spirit check.
Okay, cool. Well, nice. What's the next step?
What is the next step, indeed? Well, James is still going.
Oh, can we make races?
Yeah, we're going to. But I've said that a couple of times. But the first thing you do is edges and hindrances.
Oh, okay. So you make races last?
Yes. You would choose a race last, and you would make a race last.
14. I need one more skill.
Intimidation.
I've got intimidation at D6.
Notice.
Notice at D4. Otherwise, I have to spend double.
Knowledge.
1 point left. Knowledge.
Knowledge boats.
Knowledge boats.
Knowledge stones. I can tell you about stones.
Fighting.
I've got fighting already.
Climbing.
Got climbing already.
Oh, I need climbing. Shit.
Make them bigger.
You know what? I'm gonna get rid of shit. I'm gonna get rid of it. Oh, man.
Do you have shooting, James?
I shoot my... Yes, no, I don't. I didn't go for shoot. Yes, I did. I got it as D4. I can bump that up to D6, and that will then...
There you go.
Done.
Excellent. And again, we can go back and change all of these over the course of the next week, or even two. It's fine. So the next thing is edges and hindrances, of which there is a section on your character sheet for such a thing. Great heroes are far more than a collection of skills and attributes. It's their unique gifts, special powers, and tragic flaws that truly make them interesting characters. Characters can take edges by balancing them out with hindrances. You'll find a complete list of edges and hindrances later in this chapter. Look for more in our savage settings. There was a pirate setting. None of us could acquire it in time for the show.
Oh, is that why we needed that? Okay. Hold
yeah,
on.
specifically for edges and hindrances.
What's it called?
Pirates of the Spanish Main. And then also, James found one called, what was it, 50 Fathoms?
But you only need the player's book for that one, because the rest will just be like... Because it's a plot point campaign, so it's going to be like...
The point is,
okay,
we can acquire those PDFs in the future and relook at our edges and hindrances if we want to. For now, let's just move forward. Because again, we're saying, none of these changes, because we're just making them on the fly here, none of them are set in stone for the next week or two. So we can get those PDFs through various means later. The way that it works is you take the hindrance first. You have one major hindrance and two minor hindrances. A major hindrance is worth 2 points, and a minor hindrance is worth 1 point. For 2 points, you can raise an attribute 1 die type or choose an edge. So edges are a list of special things. And for 1 point, you can gain another skill point or gain additional money. Don't worry about that.
So hold up. If we take a major, we can increase a skill point.
An attribute point.
Like
It only takes a
You can
minor to
increase a skill for a minor, an attribute for a major.
Well, you get a skill point for a minor. It's not just an increase, right? So if it's something that costs more.
Yeah, okay. And we can take 1 major and 2 minor?
Right, and you're going to have to scroll past races and archetypes to get to the... and past skills, like to get back to hindrances, the actual list.
Okay, so hold up. Just so I know, we were at hindrances, and we can take 2 minor and 1 major.
Yep.
And then
Major gives you... Yep, keep going.
And major gives us an edge.
Or increase an attribute by a die type. And it's not actually... It's that major is worth 2 points when it comes to edges and hindrances, and minor's worth 1. So you can, if you take 2 minors and a major, you have 4 points total, which means you can get 2 attributes increases or 2 edges. Or you can get 4 skill points. Like if you want to do the cheap value one.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of us have like no fear and stuff like that. Is that like from the thing? Are you gonna give us like hindrances,
we're gonna
edges or whatever based on that?
Yeah, but that all came after character creation in our game, so we're gonna introduce it after character conversion here.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you don't even know what those do yet, but they will. They'll be a lot easier to quantify in Savage Worlds than they were going to be in 7C.
Right, got
What's
my
Benny?
2 fate points, fate chips.
Basically, yeah. Let's find that section in the book so we can read it.
Because there's literally a skill here that gives me an extra Benny at the start of the game, which is literally like 1 for 1 for what that was for me in
1 less Benny per session. Like, yeah, Benny's okay. So Benny's. Every now and then, the dice may not work out for you. That's why Savage World gives you, the player, a little control over your hero's fate. Every player starts each game session with 3 bennies. It says American slang for benefits, but I have never heard that ever in my entire
sounds like
life.
A British thing for benefits.
No, that's called the dole, mate.
Represented, represented by gaming stones or coins or whatever. We'll bring tokens into Roll20 if we have to. The Game Master may also give you more bennies for great role playing, overcoming major obstacles, or even entertaining everyone with an outlandish action, side-splitting comment, or other memorable act. Tips for awarding bennies are in my section in the back of the book.
Okay.
You can use bennies to re-roll any trait test. Make the entire roll from scratch. If you're firing 3 shots on full auto and don't like the results, pick up all 3 dice in your wild die and roll again. You can keep spending bennies and re-rolling as long as you like, and take the best of your attempts. If you roll a 5, for example, and a benny gets you a 4, keep the original 5 instead. Bennies cannot be spent on tables, damage rolls, etc., or any other roll that isn't a trait roll. So, like, a roll that is... Like,
just
roll
like
1d100 to
yeah.
find out which monster you guys encounter. You can't re-roll that one.
Okay, so just so I know, I can re-roll the entire pool, or I can pick and choose which dice from that pool I want to re-roll.
No, you always re-roll all of them, and you get to. But as many times as you do it, you can always keep the highest result. You don't have to keep the new result. So if you spend a benny, it doesn't, and it's worse. It doesn't fuck you over.
I get you. That's interesting. There's a lot more benefits in here than there is, like, hindrances, which is weird. But Sure. There's one in here which is like quick, which is kind of interesting. Whenever you're dealt 5 or lower in combat, you may discard and draw again until you draw higher than 5. What does that mean?
Sorry, what?
He's talking about initiative. So Savage Worlds uses a standard playing card deck for initiative.
Why? They roll dice. What the fuck? Okay, go on.
No,
Yeah.
there's a reason. There's a reason.
Uh-huh.
Because if you pull a Joker, which is there are only 2 Jokers in a deck, you get to act whenever you want. You get to spend your Joker to act whenever you want. And also, like, a bunch of special powers and stuff can be used when you have a Joker. So the reason why they did a deck for initiative is to have this special card be pulled and be like, oh my god, I got the Joker, I have so much power in this combat. Is basically what it is.
Okay.
So what is
If you have
Heroes
additional
Pace?
comments about it, James.
Certainly, Deadland is hallmarks. It's left over from the original Deadlands game because Deadland used Pokedex for initiative because it was like a Wild West game and Pokedex made sort of sense.
Sure.
It had because it's the theme of the game.
All right, so
It used and beanies were like fate chips, and you had poker chips to use, and it would just stylize the game that way, and it's just leftovers from that.
right, okay. So what is Heroes Pace? What does that mean?
You've got a derived attribute called pace, which is how far you can move in a combat.
Yep.
All right, so don't worry about it because it doesn't matter.
Well, where are you reading it? What does it say?
You increase your pace by 2, and you roll a d10 instead of a d6 when running, whatever that means.
It just means you run faster than anyone
It means you
else.
get further. Yeah, it means you run better and farther than everyone else. You're a sprinter.
So if you're using a combat grid, which I hope you don't,
Which is
if you're
not.
using
That's
like
what
a
I'm
battle
saying.
map.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter because it's all.
Just because
theory
I'm
of
not
the
using a
mind.
grid doesn't mean that doesn't matter. Like, we're not gonna have a grid with token monsters and
No,
all of that.
I get that, but honestly, when this is me playing as a player, like in a lot of cases, when I'm trying to get bang for buck, if I'm gonna take a hindrance and I'm getting a thing, running in Theater of the Mind isn't exactly bang for the buck in my opinion. Like whenever you have
So
a movement speed, it's like, yeah, you get to move further than anyone else, but if we're playing in our minds, it doesn't matter. Like
I've picked my hindrances.
Okay, do tell.
So I went for Clueless, which is the major. Your hero isn't aware of his world as most others. He suffers -2 to all common knowledge rolls. I took
Beautiful.
Illiterate, which is a minor. Your hero cannot read. He can probably sign his name and knows when a stop sign says, but do little else. He also doesn't know much about math either. I'm going to put an S there because I'm English. Maths either. He can probably do 2 + 2 = 4, but multiplication and the like are beyond him. And then loyal, your character may not be a hero, but he gives his life for his friends. The character can never leave a man behind if there's any chance at all he could help. Which is, if you think about how I built the character, is how he was in the character as best I could. Now,
Wreckage. One of the disadvantaged things is poverty, which doesn't. You said we're not going to worry about money too much, so I'm assuming you don't want us to go with that one.
Well, I was down at the Benny section, so give me a second. I will go read. Does it just say you don't start with money or something, or does it
He
have
starts
more?
with half the usual money for your setting, and you just can't seem to hang on to funds acquired after play begins. In general, the player halves his total funds every game week.
Oh no, that's actually still relevant. That means that you're bad with money, and that means you guys, because we're running Savage Worlds, and we're also doing a pirate game, we will actually start keeping track of your booty.
I always keep track of my booty.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just
We all someone had to. It's fine. The point I'm trying to make is it doesn't just affect at character creation. It's a persistent effect, which is to say that because you are poor, you don't know how to, like, maybe that's not something you actually want to go for with the character, but what I'm saying is I would allow it because it is a persistent effect.
Okay. I was just curious.
So they have a what's it called here? A professional edge here.
Yep.
And they have one for thief, which is interesting. It gives a +2 to climbing, lockpick, stealth, as well as notice and repair rolls that relate to traps and similar devices. The bonus to stealth does not apply when the character is in the wilderness environment, only in urban areas. I guess that wouldn't count on a boat or whatever, but like, this seems pretty good. The requirements for it, though, are like agility D8, climbing D6, lockpicking D6, and stealth D8. So,
Which you don't have.
I mean, I would have to change that. I mean, I have lockpicking and stealth at D8. So maybe I'll drop down that and put climbing up to D6, and then I would have everything that I need.
Wreckage, how do you want us to incorporate our curses into this?
Not at all yet. I will handle it.
Okay.
So am I able to take that?
Not unless you have the requirements.
I do.
But then you are allowed.
I do have the requirements. Okay, so I have to take 2 hindrances to get that. Is that what that is? Because it's an edge.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, you have to take 2 points worth of hindrance, which is either a major hindrance or 2 minors.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I will be taking them. I'm just going to, I just want to find what I'm spending that shit on, right? You know?
Got it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because I do it the opposite the way that James does it. So.
And I will, like, it says urban areas for that. That doesn't mean, like, replace the word urban with civilized. Like, so a ship is still going to count.
Okay.
Because, like, what it really means is you
Not
don't
the
get these
jungle.
bonuses in the jungle. Yeah, like, that's what it's trying to communicate.
I get you. I get you. Yeah.
Wreckage.
Hi.
There is a minor thing called Doubting Thomas.
Ooh.
Which is about, it does a minus to fear checks when you're confronted with undeniable supernatural horror. One of the things with my character was that I was overly trusting.
Right.
I don't see a hindrance that covers that. Would
That
it be
is-
possible to create a hindrance that covers that?
Hold on a second. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's a Wikipedia that has a lot more published edges and hindrances, like has organized the larger and I found it. So, or at least I found some of it. Let me see if there's
Something trusting you.
Or like naive, maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
that's good.
either one.
Yeah. Pardon me. Oh,
Jesus Christ, dude. Come on. Just mute up.
Right into the mic.
Fucking
on.
animal.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, but not what we're looking for. No.
There's also leadership edges in there, Eugene. I don't know if you saw them or not.
I'm taking the negatives first, and then I'll work my way to the edges. I haven't even looked at the good stuff. I'm just trying to do the negative stuff.
And this is also another instance where, like, when we get and later in the week and coming up, when we finally get our hands on those other PDFs, we might find some pretty great edges and hindrances.
By the way, have you looked at the phobia under the hindrance, Dave?
No, I haven't. Is there fire?
Well, I mean, you can set your own phobia, and you can set it to either be a minor or a major.
All right. I'm also going to I'm also going to dump down my agility to a D10 and take strength at D6, and I'm going to take acrobat as well. Those who have formal training in acrobatic arts are naturally agile to take this edge. It adds a +2 to all agility rolls made to perform acrobatic maneuvers, including trick maneuvers, and also adds a +1 to character's parry, as long as he has no encumbrance penalty. I don't know about you guys, but anything in this game that seems to add a straight up you get 2 in this modifier seems like a fucking strong power to have if I'm reading the book correctly.
I mean, given that it's 1d8, I mean, at best, let's assume at best you roll 2 d12s. It's still 2 to 24. So
yeah, it's
like that is a really big range. So a fixed 2 is real strong.
Okay.
Did you find anything, Wreckage?
This list actually, it was more, but it was still very, very small. I'm.
What are you looking for? What? So I wasn't actually listening. I was too busy.
We're
reading.
looking on the internet for just an expanded, like, here are some of the edges and hindrances that have been published for Savage Worlds.
What particular edge of hindrance are you looking for?
We're trying to look for a hindrance that covers how trusting, like overly trusting.
Loyal?
I've already got loyal, but loyal doesn't really cover trusting.
Yeah,
Loyal is like you're not going to leave a man behind. Trusting is whatever you tell. Like, if
naive is another good word
the
for
back
it.
of the ship's on fire, Eric. You should go check it out. I'm gonna run to the back of the ship with a bucket of water.
Alright.
I may come back and clobber you in the head or laugh, but like one of my things was essentially like believing people's lies or bad deals. Could we just make one, just say trusting, and have it be like a -2 towards? I mean, is there deceive checks or something in this game?
Oh, these. Oh, okay. Hold on a second.
Okay, I'm sufficiently holding.
I am not, by the way, dissuaded from the idea of making one. Just that I feel like I can definitely find it.
That's fair. I will move on to positive things while you're doing that.
Okay.
I'm also looking for one that there's no curiosity hindrance or curious from what I can see.
Jeez, God, these are such obvious ones too. They've got to be written down somewhere.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like curious is so fucking important to what my character is, at least.
There is a curious one.
There is curious.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
okay.
major, but it is there.
Oh,
Must
okay.
look into anything that grabs attention. What is there more written in the book? Because I'm looking at a list here.
It kills the cat, might kill your hero as well. Curious characters are easily dragged into any adventure. They have to check out everything and always want to know what's behind a potential mystery. That's pretty much, yeah. There's, I was going to take Code of Honor, but I haven't addressed that yet, so it's fine. I'll take Curious, though. That's more in line with what I am.
Vow might be another interesting one for you, Henley.
Val?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it hasn't been addressed yet, but I like the idea that he doesn't have blood on his hands and he doesn't want to have blood on his hands.
There's also pacifist.
Pacifist is not really what he is, though. I mean, he doesn't mind like knocking a motherfucker unconscious. Like he just doesn't want to outright kill a man. Like he would do the mental gymnastics. Gymnastics. Thank you. If you put a man in a barrel and then he drowned, he didn't kill him.
No. He could have gotten out of the barrel.
Yeah,
Why didn't?
if he was a more competent man, if my actions directly led to people dying, for example, I wasn't the one that pulled the trigger. that sort of thing isn't.
You just don't like getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.
So as long as you can explain it away, it's fine.
Yeah. So pacifist minor.
Did you look at faith, by the way?
The
specialty thing?
I'm taking thief and I'm taking acrobat. I'm taking both of those. So I need to have two minor and a major. So.
Oh, I.
Did you not want to take any social edges like charismatic, whatever?
Well, I like to think that he's charismatic, but the way that it's played out so far is that his charisma is lost on literally everyone, so it doesn't matter whether he's charismatic or not, because that's generally how it's played out so far.
So if this blog post is to be believed, I found the edges and hindrances for the 50 Fathoms PDF at least, which only adds like 2 new hindrances, but it adds a ton of edges, and that actually seems to be the pattern, at least that I'm finding for at least like published material, is that they don't add hindrances very often. They just add a bunch of edges. So I'm gonna give up and say that if you do want one of your hindrances to be of the I'm too trusting nature, other than just as part of your character, then we are going to have to make it.
Mm-hmm. Man, why can't you take arrogance as a minor? Like, that just seems so...
No, your arrogance will be a major flaw, sir.
Because being arrogant is a major flaw. Savage World's just trying to teach you a life lesson, Dave.
I need 2 more minors. I'm trying to work out how the fuck I get to that. Oh, Doubting Thomas.
You need 2 minor hindrances, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I need 2 minors.
What'd you take as your major?
Curious.
So take a minor phobia of fire, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Hadoy.
Everyone should be afraid of vampires, for example, so it's not a phobia. Okay. Cool, I'll take that.
Yeah, and this, in a way that the other system didn't really do, is much better at codifying what exactly happens if he encounters his phobia.
Well, I mean, you just came up with that, right? That wasn't in the 7 Seas at all. Yeah, I mean, the 20 questions thing.
Right.
So. Right.
But now we've can make it mechanical. But you still need 1 more minor, right?
Yeah, I like the idea that I don't want to put blood on my hands. So
maybe take a minor vow.
Vow, yeah.
Yeah, minor vow to just not have blood on your hands.
Well, there's also minor pacifist.
Pacifist is not what, like, he doesn't mind hitting people, right? He doesn't mind getting into combat. He's not opposed to combat. Combat is a very functional thing, but he doesn't want to kill someone. He's not going to stab a person, you know. He's going to use the blunt side of his sword. He's going to shoot a guy in the leg. You know, he's not going to like be the guy that ends a person's life. Essentially, he's not going to be the like. There's
character has a vow of some sort, whether it's a major or minor, depends on the vow itself. Some may have vows of particular order or causes. Blah blah blah. Yet, I would say that it's a minor vow to try never to take a life is a minor vow.
Yeah.
Like,
a master thief needs to be clean of blood, basically. Yeah.
You're a thief, not an assassin.
Right.
As Thief kept telling me over and over and over again as I continued to murder people. Stop it. Not an assassin.
Well, assassin gets paid to kill people. A thief just steals lives.
Yeah, listen. If you didn't want me to kill people, you shouldn't have put so many goddamn people in my way.
Got him.
Got him.
If you didn't want me to kill people, you shouldn't have made it easier in this video game that I don't empathize with at all because it's actually really poorly made. You should have made it easier to kill them instead of save their life. See, that's actually why I like Dishonored, because often, like, there's this Dishonored, the whole world revolves around whether or not you're killing or stealthing people.
Yeah.
And it is one of the very few games where, like, killing and stealthing are equally difficult in different ways. So, like, lethal and non-lethal takedowns are both difficult, but in different ways.
So I am taking the charismatic edge.
Yes. Tell us all about the thing that you've been waiting to take this whole time.
It adds +2 to charisma. Woo! Very exciting.
If only we had any idea what that meant.
Well, no, there's a charisma base, and...
Right, so now, well, he's got... Usually people have 0 charisma. Now he's got 2. Does that just add 2 to your charisma checks?
Yeah, it literally just adds +2 to my charisma.
Well, I mean, your charisma score, it says that it modifies all of your rolls. Does that just mean it's just a +2 to your charisma checks? Because I don't actually see that in, like, spelled out clearly in the rules.
Couldn't tell you, but
okay. Well, I will find it, because this is a system that I understand and can find the thing that I don't know and read it, and then be like, aha! I have found the thing that I didn't know, and in reading it, I have understood and can answer the question.
And I am taking, as an additional edge, as I took a major and 2 minor, healer.
Mm-hmm.
A hero with this edge adds +2 to all healing rolls, including natural healing rolls for his own wounds, whether natural or magical in nature. Up to 5 companions traveling with a healer add the bonus to their natural healing rolls as well.
Right. So this is a system where you roll for your healing over time. You don't just drop off your damage as time passes, which is a good and bad thing, because it means you can heal faster than whatever arbitrary rate they might have previously chosen, or you can also end up healing slower.
But now we will add +2 to it.
And so you will almost always be healing faster than anybody else ever would have, and that's because you have a natural, non-magical healer among your
charismatic healer.
So I've gone for my edges, by the way. I've picked 2 edges.
All right, tell us.
For Brawny, your bruise is very large, or perhaps just very fit, because obviously we said, stone's just a brick. His bulk resists damage better than most and adds +1 to toughness. In addition, the character can carry more than most proportional to his strength. He can carry 8 times his strength in pounds without penalty instead of the usual 5.
Perfect. That's exactly the character we have.
And then I went for Brawler. Frequent fights with his bare hands has given this thug a powerful punch. When he hits a foe with a successful bare-handed fight roll, he adds +2 to his damage.
Perfect.
That's an interesting thing. So what is that now? I click climbing just to see what it looks like.
Okay, so you rolled a 4 both times. So you rolled a total of 4 both times.
I may have messed up the system and got it confused with the older system. Sorry.
Sorry, as an additional question, mechanically, how do you want to do trusting? Doubting Thomas was a -2 to fear checks.
Right, that's not really what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
What do you need it to be, a major or a minor?
It's a minor.
So you got 18 on that wild die because it exploded twice. And I feel like this is going to be a system with a lot of explosions. So I'm sorry, because we were talking, I totally misheard the answer to the question that I asked.
Minor.
You need it to be a minor?
Yep.
For minor, I think it only needs to be like let's say we roll back time, right? And we're starting with Savage Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And it has trusting. Then I would say that it is sufficient for a minor hindrance to just say you are overly trusting of people, right?
Okay.
Like,
and just role play it the way that
right. The fact that you are trying to get back what you already were in the other system means that you're looking for those hindrances. But I think in this case, it would just read that as for a minor. I don't think it would be -1 or anything to like. I think I'm yeah. And every once in a while, I might say, "Oh, you guys want to see through this deception or whatever." Well, in particular, Eric is really trusting of this guy right now because of his role playing of being trusting.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna give him a -2 or whatever to the roll.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep, it does sound like a plan.
Would that not be clueless?
No, because I'm not clueless. It's not that I know less about the world.
Yeah.
It's that when people are trying to get my goat or telling me things like, hey, yeah, this is totally worth 10 gold pieces, its actual value is 5 gold pieces, I don't go look it up. I'm like, yeah, no, you seem like you have a trusting face. Like Henley would never lie to me about the value of this loot. Honestly, I see it coming up more now that we're going to be tracking loot. Like, say we take a ship and we're like, all right, Henley, divide up the loot. And he's like, okay.
That didn't work.
Shiny golden bowl for Henley. Tiny silver coin for you, June. And I'll be like, huh? And he'd be like, don't worry. That coin is made with a special rare kind of silver.
Do not worry, friend. It is a mother coin. Very, very.
You're going a little
rare.
far. I don't think that Eric would. He's trusting, but he already knows that Ricardo is a bit of a liar, right?
Also, you're not stupid, neither, are you? I mean, it's not like you're. If that was stone, then that would make sense. But
my impression of both the old character and the hindrance that we're trying to make for the new one is that he is default trusting, not stupid. If someone lies to him, he is not. If someone is caught in an open or even repeated lie, he is not incapable of understanding that person's a liar. He just assumes that all people are good by default and not liars.
People are given the benefit of the doubt until proven
otherwise. In which case, he doesn't still have any sort of penalty for believing them at that point. Because, he's not an idiot. He learns, is the point. So that's your edges and hindrances all taken care of, Eric, right?
Correct.
Stone, I heard yours. Dave, you did all of your edges and hindrances?
Yeah, curious, phobia, fire, vow, acrobat, and faith. Yeah.
All right, so we're coming to the top of the hour. Let's take another quick bathroom break. And when we come back, we're going to do a custom race for each of our starting nations. Savage Worlds lets you build unique races, and that's something that we did during character creation of our other game. So it really is incredibly important, or I think appropriate, rather, that we do that here as well. So you'll actually have to backtrack because it's above the hindrances list.
Page 23.
Yeah.
This system has good bookmarks, so very easy to find. So, what's the dealio? How do we do this?
Making races. The following system allows you to make new races or cultural templates like those found on previous pages. So there's examples above this page if you need them for help. Races and cultures begin with a free +2 racial ability. This is equivalent to a human's free edge. So normally when Savage Worlds is talking about races, it's talking about like, are you human or are you half orc or zombie lizard? But it also says that this can be used to do different cultural templates as well. So in this case, what we're doing is different cultural templates. Just like edges and hindrance, it's a pointed system. So you have to have bad things to get good things. You do start with 2 points though. So you can just get a 2-pointed thing and be done if that's all you think your culture should be represented by. Or you can also start tacking on negatives to build up to positives. And the full list is here on this page.
Yeah, so I think Parisians should have multiple limbs.
Agreed. The prehensile tail.
Yeah.
I think all Parisians should have.
But it's invisible, so no one except Parisians know about it, right? So
yeah, of course, obviously.
That's how it works. So
That's
why I was
about
so good at
We're talking
steal.
about cock on his head.
In the examples, also,
I'll take
they
a
mention-
prehensile invisible penis on my head any day. Are you kidding me? That sounds incredibly useful.
There are also things not like specified here that you can do. So like if you scroll up to the example races, you have
Infrared.
that they're bloodthirsty or whatever. Like that's not one of the specific things that is listed here. But it is still considered like a hindrance that gives them points.
There's actually, I mean, you say that, but there's a fucking edge that's called bloodthirsty, and it's a positive
True.
thing.
All right, so that's my point. Is like, and then there's warm-natured.
Does it actually give you the fucking edge bloodthirsty, and then you get it counts as a negative?
For the racial points, though, not for your personal edge and hindrance.
I mean, do you get the edge though? The edge is called bloodthirsty.
No, this one is different.
Oh, that's strange, but okay.
Well, what does the bloodthirsty edge do? I'm up at race right now.
Bloodthirsty. Oh no, that's berserk. So there's there might be in the hindrances actually. Because I did okay. Bloodthirsty. Hero never takes prisoners unless under direct supervision or of a supervisor. Yeah, so it's -4 to charisma. Okay.
Got it. Well, that's the same thing that it is here.
Okay, so it is the same thing. Okay, so if it does say the same thing, it is that then. Yeah. Okay.
Right. It's that. It's just that's it counts in the racial stats, not the actual edges and hindrances math.
Interesting. So if I take a -3 ability and then I take a +3 ability, what's a seasoned edge?
Some of the edges said seasoned, so it's novice, seasoned. like expert, that kind of stuff. So
There are edges and hindrances that you can't get at character creation.
Unless you can.
Unless you can, but you usually can't.
You can't get it at character creation unless stated otherwise. Like, what? Oh, I see. It says seasoned in the requirements. Right, I get you. Let me just make sure that my ones don't...
And the cool thing about that is it says regardless of requirements. So you can get a seasoned edge even if you don't have the stat requirements for it.
Mm-hmm. Because what you're doing is you're creating a race that is just that way.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Saurians are like the very last example just before the making your own races. They have warm-natured, which is... I'm pointing it out because it's not... it's a major hindrance or equivalent effect, right? So that's... You can make up your own shit, is basically the point. Like, as long as it comes out to being roughly equal to a major hindrance or a major edge, then you can make up whatever the fuck you want. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, what it's literally saying is they are not cold-blooded, but they don't really make all that much body heat, so they suffer -4 penalty to resist cold environment effects. So it's like that's maybe a minor hindrance, that's maybe a major hindrance. You know, I'm not sure.
So you get a +2 for free. So if you take a -1, you can get a +3 ability. Is that what you're saying?
You can get a +3 racial thing.
Oh, I mean, so there's a -2 ability here, which is -4 penalty to resist negative environmental effects, heat, cold, pressure, etc. So that's probably what you're talking about there.
Right.
That's a -2 ability on the race builder.
So you get +2 points already. And remember, this isn't what do I want from my character. This is what do my people culturally, all of them are going to get this. So it has to apply to all of them. So no free season thief edge for Dave.
No, I get that.
Because
I get that.
not all, yeah.
Like, for example, I took a +2 ability, which the base is start with a D6 and 1 attribute. I called it farm living, and I took vigor. So everybody from Prius has a D6 in vigor
To start with. And
with.
Does that change your stats then?
It does change my stats.
All right.
It doesn't change anything I have done because I only had a D4 in vigor, but this ups my vigor to D6.
Got it. And that makes perfect sense.
So now I'm just trying to figure out if there are other things that Prius has.
How would you feel about my race? I forget the name of them. What are they called? Parisians. I'm either wanting to go for one of the -3 abilities, which is either I'm thinking strength. You can never advance above a D6, or every strength attribute skills requires 2 advancement instead of 1.
But you have to dedicate 2 advances to it during character creation.
I know, yeah.
So that's 4 dice towards strength.
I'm thinking what I'm thinking is maybe strength can never go above a D6 for Parisians. But the only reason why I think that the other one might be better is because I like the idea that there is strong Parisians, you know, but they had to work extra hard for it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but for you, mechanically speaking...
The rest of that says you must dedicate 2 of your advances to raising that attribute.
Okay, so just 2 of your points. So that would mean you would only have 3 points left to increase your other stats.
Mm-hmm.
To raising the attribute during gameplay. Wait, that's confusingly worded. Oh no, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So it costs 2 advances instead of 1 to upgrade whatever.
Right. Advances are harder to come by than the points. So basically, what it's saying is,
I don't know what
when
advances are. So.
well, it's how you can improve your character as time goes on.
Oh, so he doesn't have to do it at character creation, but at some point during gameplay, he has to spend 2 advances on strength.
No, that's not what it means.
Oh, okay.
And it is pretty min-maxy because he could give himself this thing if he never ever wants to do strength. He doesn't have to do it. The point is, when it says must, it's poor grammar. But what it's trying to say is there is a difference between at character creation spending 2 character creation points and later on in gameplay spending 2 advances. But those are both costed the same, is what it's like. This is usually you would only need to spend 1 advance to increase your strength. This negative trait would make it so you always have to spend double.
Yeah.
And that includes, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not saying he must at some point buy that increased cost strength. Just that such is the case.
Yeah. And the reason why, like, I like the idea that we're not a very strong people, but we're very skilled. Right? Like,
well, it sounds like so.
Well, and
like
remember, D6 is normal human strength.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you don't have Hercules, but you do have normally strong humans.
Yeah. I'm okay with the can't go above a D6 for strength.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, and I would call the trait soft or whatever. Like, your people are all fritzy and luxurious and
Yeah.
they're all about money and buying things.
Yeah.
But so my question is, you have 5 points. Then what are you going to end up giving them? Because I'm fine with them being weak because that totally fits with what they are so far. But what is your planned benefits?
So if I was min-maxing my character, it would be the first +3 ability, right? We begin at a D8 in one attribute.
Okay, but what would it be?
Agility. But
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's if I'm min-maxing my character. But what I'm actually thinking for like the race of Parisian is that a free season edge, because they as a culture they respect skilled labor more than like, you know, just labor. Like,
right, but I want to make something clear here.
Yeah.
That isn't a free seasoned edge. It is a specific free seasoned edge that applies to the whole race. You see what I'm saying?
I have to pick what edge it is for the entire race.
Yes, that you are giving the entire race an edge, which they all have.
Let me look into that then. Like,
okay,
because I've only now noticed that it says novice in the edges. Mine so far I haven't had that, so.
So you can have +2 without having to do much, yeah? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you just for free you have, because the base is all humans get a free edge. That's the base in Savage Worlds, which we didn't do.
I might actually say that then that's their base of the
Emerald Isles. They just get a free edge.
Yeah, might. I'm looking at the edges, going, is there anything that I want?
So it wouldn't be leadership. Maybe I'm thinking more like professional edges, maybe.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But professional edges are like, can we just make it that you get a free professional edge? Seasoned edge. Oh, is there seasoned edges? Professional edges?
Hold on a second.
No, they're all novice. Maybe a social edge? There's not a lot of seasoned edges.
Where are they all?
And they're like
Oh, like Frenzy is one. Okay, I'm seeing them.
you know what I mean?
Block.
Like they don't seem like they're specifically tailored to that race, but like that seems like
Well,
a
then you
very,
could go with free. You could just go with free edge, but then also have 3 points to give them something else. So instead of a free seasoned edge, they have a free edge. But then that was maybe what James was going to do for Emerald Islands.
Yeah, call it a cop out if you want, but yeah, it's a cop out. I mean, I would have to look at. I mean, if they were going to get a +2 attribute, then I'd look at like Avalon, whatever it's called in 7th C, and then go. All right, so it's that skill, attribute, whatever.
Right. Well, and I think going back to what the Emerald Isles was for those who maybe weren't here during that session is, like they're an oppressive, nearly like enslaved society that has raised their monarch up to the level of a deity, and the people the proletariat are just completely oppressed. So, like,
well, maybe they get +2 to vigor.
well, what I'm thinking,
All right.
because again, that's the one that Eric has just given his people is vigor.
Okay.
So what I'm maybe thinking is,
there's Hardy, which is a 2nd season shaken results in combat, not cause a wound. Like if you want to be the tanky race.
what was that edge that you took that let you carry more stuff?
Brawny.
Right.
It just means I'm big. That's just not really. I'm not really gonna. That's not really a racial thing I was going for. It's like.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say like one of the racial things you can do is just +1 size, but I think you wanted your bigness to be special to you, not to your people.
I mean, you could have toughness. Like, your people could just be tough.
Yeah, tough is different than vigor.
Yeah, so you could just add +1 toughness. That is a +2 ability.
Oh, is it?
There's
Yeah.
also the ability. There is a +2 ability for size.
I'd also consider +4 bonus to resist all negative environmental effects, because you described your islands as being like
Horrendous.
massive smog-covered cities, so you could be resistant to all environmental pressures because you guys are. It says +4 to resist all negative environmental effects: heat, cold, pressure, pollution.
Sure. We'll go with that.
All right.
That's a good thing.
All right. So
Are you sure that it has to be like if it says free season edge, right?
Yep.
Does it have to be a specific edge for
Yes.
the entire race?
all of the example races have a specific free edge.
I know,
not
but
a
in
free edge.
some of the things it says here, like in the +1 abilities, it says a free D6 in a skill common to that race, and then in the +2 abilities it says start with a D6 and one attribute. Like it doesn't say like it specifically
right,
says,
but it's saying a specific one. All of those are specific. The start with a D6 and one attribute is not pick an attribute, you start with a D6 and one. It's these people all get +1 to smarts. Like that's what it's saying.
okay.
Should I make it an edge?
Like elves, for example. Elves are graceful and agile. They start with a D6 in agility instead of a D4. Not a D6 in one ability. You choose the thing. I mean, what you could do, Dave, is if this is
So if I'm looking at the free novice edge because there's a lot more novice edges in the +2 abilities.
Mm.
And maybe picking the luck one.
All Parisians are just naturally lucky.
Yeah. But like, I don't know how important that's going to be as an actual like modifier in the game. You know.
It's decently good.
But
I think
it sounds like you can get them whenever you want, right? And
well,
is it one
to
of
the extent that I hand them out?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and is it one of those things where the other thing is maybe like attractive as well. I don't know, like
so
all of Peresia can't be beautiful, Henley.
it's kind
you.
of yeah, but you know what I mean. Like it's kind of like how you think Swedish people are all attractive. You know, like
well, yeah, there are
exceptions
like,
to that rule.
People would look
like,
at Parisians, and some people wouldn't be happy about that, right? They would say, "Look at this, you know, fucking frilly Parisian. You can tell because of his fucking eyelashes and the fact that it twinkles when he blinks."
Yeah, exactly.
A massive raging erection just by looking at him.
On his forehead.
So there's a couple of things.
It's waving hello to me, I think.
Like,
is it raining in here? Like, why?
I think there would be a fine argument for, like, say you don't have to have that -3 thing, and then just give them the human trait of a free edge. Like that sounds like Peresia to me too. So, because the human version is a free edge, period, any free edge, like, or any edge for free.
Yeah, I know, but I really like this. Like, I think it's cool. I like the idea that the entire race is a particular way.
Soft.
So what? And like, you know, I like the idea that
soft, lucky, and beautiful. Like that only actually puts you at a 1 point disparity.
Yeah.
If you do both lucky and beautiful, and then like we can just call that a wash. Like it's fine.
What do you mean? You mean like I need to take a negative or something?
Well, no, you wouldn't have to do anything. So right now you have 2 abilities for free. Then you added the -3, so you have 5. Lucky and beautiful both cost 2.
And then I get an extra 1 that I can spend it on.
Right, but I don't actually think there's a 1 point that makes sense for your people.
Send me a quarter. I can hold my breath under. Nah. I would be okay with like a free D6 in a skill common to that race. Maybe something along the lines of like mercantile or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
like a mercantile D6. Yeah.
Like something like maybe even for like appraising things. Maybe like identifying like gemstones or something like that. Like you know something to do with you know being rich or whatever. You know.
I think actually I think it would be totally fine here to say. Let me get down to the skills, or up to the skills.
Maybe even like a knowledge smarts skill. You know, like everyone is sort of educated in that region.
That would make sense.
Maybe
like
a
D6 in knowledge
or notice. You know,
or D6 in gambling. Everybody in Parisia has a D6 in gambling. You've got that whole coin thing.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
The 2 sides of the coin. Mm-hmm. Maybe everybody always flips coins for things.
I mean, that is a major religion, right?
Yeah, like that would be pretty interesting. And like it's also one that has really minimal impact on the game. Like everybody in Parisia gets a free D6 to gambling. Like that's fine.
By the buy wreckage.
Yeah.
Sorry to break in on Henley's thing.
So
I'm going with farm living, which is D6 in vigor. That's my free +2.
Sure.
Then I'm taking strong willed, which is a D6 in spirit.
Okay.
Another +2, and taking temperate farmland, which is going to be a -4 to all elemental resists.
Oh, like you're used to living in really cushy, like perfect.
Yeah, it's picturesque farmland. We don't have pollution. We don't have
It's the exact
Lots of
opposite,
heat.
right? Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, I approve. I approve of all of that. It makes sense to me.
Now I just got to figure out what to do with my extra skill point back.
Would you be okay with knowledge bartering as the racial?
Okay, knowledge is a catch-all skill that must be focused of some sort. Yeah, I'd be fine with all of them having a D6 in knowledge bartering. Like everybody everybody is always
Trying to get
haggling over everything. There's no set price anywhere. Like you walk into a restaurant and you haggle for your meal.
Yeah.
Like you haggle everywhere. So everyone's good at haggling because like you're like, yes, sir, welcome to public transportation. And they're like, well, I'm going to pay a halfpence for this public transportation. And the bus driver has to be like, sir, I think you'll find that this bus has arrived exactly on time, which isn't common. So I think
isn't common.
So I think you should be at the very least you should be paying a 4 penny. And it's like, oh, that's outrageous.
You should take the floor always fucking late.
And then you could go further. It's like, yes, but I intend to sit in the back with all the ne'er-do-wells, so that is only worth a halfpenny.
I intend to make my trip worse for myself so that I can pay less.
By the way, with my now freed up skill point, I'm taking knowledge cooking.
Nice.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Perfect.
Makes sense.
Can you cook me some food, please? Thanks.
So
You
where
could
do I
go
put
get
this?
food.
Where do I put this race thing?
Do
Do I just do where we
race.
putting the actual
Yes.
like?
under the character sheet where it says, you mean the details of that race because
Yeah.
it doesn't.
I put it
I-
as an edge.
I
I'll put it as an
copied it
edge.
down in physical appearance and personal history.
I just put an edge and called it Emerald Islander, and then took at, and then I put race, and then I just put it there.
I mean, there's journal where you can put notes. I
I'll
guess
just-
it's like,
I'll just put it on the bio and info tab. That's easy.
yeah, like wherever it's going to be most easily accessed by you, so that you don't forget it.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing a dressing gown. Is that that's English, isn't it? Sorry. That's what's...
It's a robe.
Yep, it's a robe. Arthur Dent wore a robe.
Okay.
or dressing gown.
So we get.
I'm cold.
knowledge.
It's cold. I wasn't wearing it at the start of the show, so you've only had the last 40 or so minutes to notice in the first place.
Knowledge bartering. We also get edges. Attractive. Oh, I can increase that.
Yeah, extremely attractive. So it's +4 charisma instead of +2. I considered it.
All the ladies.
I'm not sure what a charisma affects, but having a +2 to 0 is not a bad start, I guess.
Especially not as a free racial trait.
Yeah.
Mhm. So here's another thing that I want to point out. The next thing that you would do in character, because I think we're all done, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
The next thing that would occur is gear. And unlike the previous setting in which everything was just assumed to be at hand, you do actually have to keep track of your gear.
I've actually got a thing I want to raise as well.
Okay, yeah.
So, when we had the initial episode, the first one, and we
Sure.
had to give out a story, and
Uh-huh.
I won that story. and I
Yeah.
got an addition. How can we handle that in this?
Right, I gave you an extra point. I think it's fair that the winner of that got a free advance.
In what?
Advance, like an advance. As in,
So you can increase one of your attributes.
so when we get so advancement in this game is whenever you get experience points, you get a set number for the session, like 1 to 3. It says there's more about giving out experience, but when you get a total of 5 experience points, you get an advancement. You get an advance, which you can then spend to do all of the stuff that we've done so far. Just the costs are slightly different for doing them in the middle of the game of play.
All right. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah. And speaking of which, because we played a few sessions, everyone is going to have an advance. So James is going to have 2 advances, but you guys are going to have 1 advance each.
Cool.
So now that we've done all of that, you still get to improve your character again. But oh yeah, no, they got the flintlock pistol and stuff. And they got the swords and the fencing and all of that listed in this. So I guess we're going to be fine for that. Especially since we've already established that your characters currently have nothing in particular that they would consider their own gear.
I have a robe, but that's about it. Like a cape, because of the fact that it was related to my
you had a fencing cape.
Cape, and that was the only thing on my character that could have survived a shipwreck, I guess.
Right,
for the most part.
And there are.
By the way, what's the deal with the fencing school style? Can you give me an idea of that? Is that something I can?
There isn't any. Like there are fighting maneuvers.
Okay, but it literally says on the character sheet here, add fencing style /school. Like it literally has an option on the character sheet.
So did I get? Is it a free advance or was it? So like, am I still like the same level as everyone else or what?
Yeah, it was the advance was free, not 5 extra. It wasn't 5 extra experience points. It was an advance.
So you can use that advance to gain a new edge, increase a skill that is equal or greater than its linked attribute by 1 die type, increase 2 skills that are lower than their linked attribute by 1 die type each, buy a new skill at D4, or increase 1 attribute by a die type. You may only choose this option once per rank.
Rank?
So right now we are the rank of novice. We will be novice until we have 19 experience points. 20. From the 20 to 39 will be considered seasoned. From 40 to 59 veteran. From 60 to 79 heroic. And 80 plus is legendary. So you may, with your advances, once per rank, increase a attribute. So you will, in total, only get 5 attribute increases.
Increase the skill. Okay. So, for example, if I maxed out my climbing to my strength, could I then spend an advance to add another level of climbing, or is it like because it? But in character creation, it costs 2, right?
Yeah, the way I'm reading this is an advance is 2 skill points. So either you can use those 2 skill points to increase a skill beyond your die type, or you can increase 2 ones that are not at that level up.
Okay. Oh, okay. Equal to or greater than. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. All right. By a new skill, D4.
I'd advanced myself.
Holy crap, guys! It is so much better to like buy a bunch of skills in character creation and then level them up than it is to buy a new skill later.
Yeah, because buying a new skill later takes the entirety of your advance.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, you'll get a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
you say that, but you are the one GM in my life that never gives XP.
This system doesn't. okay, so there's a couple of things that are going to come up. This system has a lot of, this is the exact amount you get per session. But then it also puts in parentheses for like a typical 6-hour session. And as far as actual playtime, you know, we usually get just over 3 hours. So as far as like, I might give you guys one less Benny per session. That might be a thing. But it does have an exact set number of XP I'm supposed to give you per session. And that I can only, I can't decrease that too much because it's only like 3 or something. So,
Yeah.
Well, it's 1 to 3. 1, the group accomplished little or had a very short session. 2,
Right.
the group had more successes than failures. 3, the group succeeded greatly and their adventure had a significant impact on the overall story.
right.
So we got to earn that 3.
My guess is that you will have an advance
So how
almost every 2 plays, and then sometimes you will have an advance. Sometimes it'll take only
Alright.
1. I
And-
think it'll be 2 to 1.
And how do
usually.
bennies work? Am I gonna like, because I get 1 at the beginning, I draw an extra 1 at the beginning of every session. So if I have 2 next session,
Yeah.
and then we
You'll have
start
3.
again,
No. So they don't carry over.
okay.
It's one of those systems where you don't save and store bennies. You get a refresh every session, which is why I'm decreasing the refresh, because we only ever play for a couple of hours. Because otherwise you would just pretty much have infinite.
So, Wreckage, would you
Yep.
say we are at 5 experience?
Yes, you are all at 5 experience. You have gained 1 advance as a result. You might actually be at like 7 experience. Let's say you're all at 7 experience.
Okay.
You're all at 7 experience because I would have given you 3 just for making the contract with the witch, and now with the whole other thing, I think you've gotten up to 7, like 3, 2, 2, probably something like that. Prowler's gone. We've been doing character conversion. We're almost done.
I think I'm going to make my agility a D12.
Nice.
Because, I mean, literally every single one of my skills is agility. So, like,
I mean, makes sense.
yeah.
Can I have a laser sword? Is that all right?
Yeah. There you go.
Not yet, but the great thing about this is when we get into like the weird magic and stuff, there's so many expanded books and information for Savage World that I can go find the thing that we need, basically.
So it said for gear that we start with $500 worth of gear, unless
Right.
otherwise stated.
This is going to be in a less otherwise stated campaign
Okay.
because you all started shipwrecked.
Yeah.
And we're not going back and being like, yeah, you had that
Can we
rifle
just,
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, can we just assume basically what the standard gear on the ship is, and that's what we would be wielding?
Yeah, I think again, this is another place where we're going to get that PDF this week or next week. We're going to
probably have like cutlass.
acquire it. Well, yeah. So this book does actually have like flintlock pistol, cutlass in it, but I'm sure the 50 Fathoms book especially has like this type of pirate garb, and this is what a telescope does. Like, you know, a little bit more that we're going to need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're going to, with the new system, things are going to get more action-packed, more fast-paced. We're going to, this whole plot line that we're on is going to get resolved very quickly, and you'll be earning your own booty and buying your own gear very soon.
So, I've chosen what I wanted in the first place for my character for the equipment or the weapon of choice.
Uh-huh.
And I went for brass knuckles.
Wow.
Okay. You can definitely find a pair of brass knuckles on the ship, so you can have them.
It says a hero wearing brass knuckles is considered to be unarmed attacker.
I'm going to take, if it's quite all right, a short sword. Actually, a long sword.
Well, so we'll get into the minutia next week, but you know, they've been keeping a tight lid on the armory, but now there's this whole, there's this whole
the armory.
The tariffs, and people are locked in jail or scrubbing the deck, and the captain has a secret, and maybe there'll be mutiny.
Has a secret. Ooh. Henley almost got himself killed.
Yes, very, very almost gotten himself killed.
Not my fault.
It was 100% your fault.
You were involved.
I would say of the fault that it was 99% your fault and 1% my fault for making the character who he was, but you also knew that already. You knew what kind of character he was.
No, I didn't.
You had plenty of interactions with the captain. Right. And also you roll damage in this system. So we will have another brief tutorial about like rolls and how the game works on that level when we actually do it. I was planning on having the last hour be actual gameplay, but Prylor isn't here. He said he was going to be here like a couple hours before the start of the show, and then we just heard nothing.
He probably just fell asleep. I'm not too
Well,
worried
he
about
probably just fell asleep. I'm hoping he just fell asleep and not that some horrible thing has befallen Florida yet again.
Don't think of like that.
I always go to the worst possible outcome, Dave.
I used to do
It's
that.
probably he just doesn't like us anymore.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
I mean, probably specifically.
You should know. You should know me pretty well by now, Dave. I always go to the worst possible outcome on everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. You know that. So I think in lieu of that, sadly, some folks just got here, but I think that's everything for tonight.
We did it. We successfully
converted our characters.
Our characters.
How are you gonna
Yes?
handle Prylord if he's not here?
Yeah, on the side, he can touch base.
Well,
with him.
it's going to be Prylor's responsibility to set aside the time for me to help him do this. If he doesn't, we're not going to dedicate another 3 hours of gameplay to it, and so like that'll be on him, right? Because he said he was going to be here, and he isn't. So, that's on him too. Whatever did happen. So we'll let him know that he has to, that I can help him. I'll be more than happy to help him on the side and help him get his character up to speed. But that'll be something that he has to do before next week when we play again. Unless, wait a minute, Wreckage. I have a business conference in a hurricane at TwitchCon, part 2.
How much health do we have, by the way? Is that where do we find that?
It's based off of our vigor, isn't it?
Health, vigor, and toughness have something to do with it. But that's not something that I have checked yet because we haven't fought yet.
Yeah, for some reason my wounds just say of 3.
Yeah,
and I can't change it, so I'm assuming it's being pulled from somewhere.
yeah. It's not letting me change the wound, but the toughness changes if you have higher vigor, which is cool.
Yeah, wounds didn't go up even when I put vigor to D12, so.
Shaken characters are nicked, bruised, or otherwise rattled. Soaking damage.
I'm not sure how that works.
Oh, okay. So your toughness is the amount of damage that
people need to roll to, like, it's sort of the base result that they need to roll to do it, because the way that it works in this game is there's going to be shaken and there's going to be wounds, and those create stacking penalties. And that's basically your health is what I'm getting here.
So you get 3 health.
So you get shaken, and then if you get shaken again, it's a wound. You get shaken again, it's a wound. You get shaken again, you're dead.
And sometimes you can get wounds before even getting shaken.
So what's parry then? Is that parry like what you do to stop someone from hitting you to begin with?
I believe so. It's a maneuver.
Is it? Because I have a parry modifier.
Let's see here. Let's look up parry. Yeah, because parry is it's a derived stat from fighting. But what does parry actually do? I think there are weapons that add to your parry score. It's not helping.
The target number to hit the opponent is equal to the opponent's parry score.
In melee, parry is your defense for melee defense.
Yeah, so to hit a target, to hit the opponent is equal to the opponent's parry score. So mine's 7 because I have stuff.
2 plus half his fighting ability. Right.
Yeah, so mine's 7. My fighting ability is a D8. So that makes sense. So it's a 4. It's 4 plus.
It's actually 6. So yeah, it's your parry score is 6.
No,
unless something's giving you more parry.
Yeah, acrobat.
Right. Oh, okay then. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, no.
Then you get bonus damage if it hits over parry with a raise.
Wow. There's a lot of terminology going around right now. It'll take me a while to get this, I guess.
All right, so raise is 4 more than the target number, which is something that James explained earlier. So in combat, that'll come up as your various defenses are the target number.
So and if they get 11,
4 over that,
then he gets a bonus damage.
Yeah, he'll get an additional D6 of damage. And then that damage itself is going to go against your toughness as its target number, and if that damage gets a raise, you get shaken and bigger wounds and et cetera, and that's how you get someone down real fast.
Okay.
Roll good, kill enemy.
Yep.
Range weapons do fixed damage. Hand weapons cause damage equal to the attacker's strength die plus a second die. So a barbarian with 12 strength and a longsword, D8, rolls D8 plus D12.
Which is ridiculous.
Yes, and you all have 3 wounds. That was true. But you use toughness is
they have to defeat your toughness to do damage to you.
Yeah, it's kind of like armor.
So you get basically your dodge modifier, which is like if you can get hit to begin with, and once you've been hit, toughness removes is what they need to pass in order to do damage to you.
So so they have to overcome your parry, and then they have to overcome your toughness.
Yeah.
And if they overcome those 2 things by more than 4, then they beat the shit out of you, and we make new characters.
And becoming shaken makes them more likely to do more damage in the future because you're shaken. So they're more likely to raise and wound, and then you get 3 wounds, and after 3 wounds, you make a vigor roll. I think actually you get to make vigor rolls too along the way if you want. to like shake off the effects of being wounded or shaken.
There's an unshake modifier there. Can you modify that at all? Okay, you can. Yeah.
So there's a +3 attribute for the classes that we didn't build. Excuse me, the races that none of us took, which would have meant that the second time we're shaken, instead of taking a wound, you don't get a wound there.
Yeah, so that was the one that I suggested you take, because that was shaken is basically extra damage and stuff.
I prefer to be stirred.
Yeah, I mean, shaken is a whole bunch of stuff, and then wounds are also a whole bunch of stuff. You start getting penalties to all of your rolls, not just the combat rolls, which is why the natural healing is relevant, because it continues to be applied to situations well after you've passed that point. All right, so I think that leaves us all on relatively the same page, I would say.
Character can spend a Benny to make a soak roll, which is a vigor check. So you have to spend a Benny to make a vigor check. A success, and each raise reduces the number of wounds suffered from that attack by 1. If a character soaks all the wounds from an attack, he removes his shaking condition too. So the luck is cool. I like it.
Yeah, bennies are important, which is also why, like,
is
the
there
fact
a max
that
limit as to how many bennies you can have?
No, but they refresh every session to 3. So
wait, so everyone gets 3, and then I get an extra one, so I get 4.
Right. You've essentially chosen 1 extra refresh. I may lower that to 2, and then you would get 3, because again, the game is balancing that 3 bennies on the assumption that a session is 6 hours long.
Is it? I thought it'd be 4 hours.
4 to
That's an
6.
average session.
Yeah. We don't ever even get up to 4 hours of gameplay, though.
Well, we generally will. It's not our choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're a show that has a 4-hour time slot with theoretically 3 10-minute breaks and, intros, which are also like 20 minutes. So we usually get I think Dave can speak to this. How long are our videos on YouTube usually? Just about.
If I remove all the breaks and stuff, it's about 3:30 most cases.
Yeah, and that includes intros still. So we're really getting 3 hours of gameplay. I don't know. I may or may not reduce the number of bennies. I don't think so, but maybe.
In fairness, the average gaming session in person involves piss breaks, bullshit breaks, and hey, let's go eat some pizza.
When I play in person and someone has to go to the bathroom, they just step away, and sessions tend to be.
When I play in person, everyone goes to the bathroom at the same time we continue playing.
Also, when I play in person, they tend to be. As a matter of fact, when I play in person, they tend to be 12-hour-long sessions.
I've sat through one of them. It's fucking insane, and they sit there and they talk for a long time. So.
Yeah, we have it's a totally different experience, and I haven't done it. I literally haven't done it since Dave sat in on it. He ruined it. No, I'm kidding. But just happenstance, I left that group of players, and I haven't done that type of role playing since then. But that's how I role play in person. And we would have we would probably increase Benny refresh to 5 or something. But I'll give it a few play sessions and see if you guys are just too able to spend bennies on everything.
Man, having come off Shadowrun Anarchy, dude, let your players just spend it as much as they want. It's fun. I have fun with that shit. But
well, the bennies in this are not the same thing as in Shadowrun Anarchy, where the things can get.
Dude, they can take their turn twice if they want, and every time someone hits them, they can fucking hit them back for free.
That's not what a Benny does, so it's different.
And they can
it's
soak
not
damage,
as cool.
And they can do whatever they want. They can spend plot points to make fucking fire hydrants appear that they can shoot to make smoke come out.
Is there a computer in this room? No. Yes, there is.
No, I love systems like that. That's why I love Fate, and I'm real sad to see the show that we had that was Fate go.
Yeah.
But it had to. Such is life.
I'm doing a Fate core system in real life
Right now.
about it right now. I mean, not right now, but
Fate is
right
real
now.
life.
Right now.
Yeah. Well.
All right. I think that's the session though tonight,
Yeah,
boys.
I think
Outros.
so. Yeah, let's do some outros. Mr. Yob Jonas.
Hey, I'll keep this short. You can find me at twitch.tv/Ujune, YUJOON. You can find me on Twitter at DSUJune, spelled the same way I just spelled it. If you don't remember, well, sorry, look under the name. It's in the doobly-doo because Henley puts it there.
The doobly-doo.
Yeah, accept my love. Anyway.
All right, Justin Timberlake.
I'm a bit bummed about us not being able to make Seven Seas work. I thought it was an intriguing system, but it was very obvious that we were spending way too long on the system and not enough time role playing.
Yep.
So the frustration really just wasn't worth it. So I think I've never used Savage Worlds. It seems like it's going to be a pretty interesting system. Knowing my luck, Wreckage will literally kill me in the first combat by rolling an explosive die of 30 and destroying
our explosive dice.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. I think we've done a pretty good job of transitioning our characters over into the system while still remaining true to the characters. And as before, even though Prylor is not here, I'm looking forward to more role playing with James and Prylor and I guess Henley.
Sorry.
Well, he doesn't even guess that he's looking forward to playing with me.
Well, you're the GM. I have to look forward to playing with you. Like, you have to be here. Like, you could fire any one of us. Well, probably not Henley because it's his channel. But Wreckage, if you just...
You're right, I've tried.
If you just decided, you know what? Fluff that Eugene guy. I don't like him anymore. And you sent Henley a message and said, Henley, get rid of Eugene.
You know what? Eugene, I know you're joking and it's funny, but I want to give credit where credit is due. Dave doesn't let that shit fly. Like, there have been times in the past where people have had problems with other people, and he doesn't just be like, you know what, this person is just right, and fuck this other person. Oh. He's like, he's a good guy, and he knows how to not, just fluff Eugene because you're a swell guy, and he knows you're a swell guy. So if I was having a bad day and I thought you weren't being a swell guy, he would be right on top of that.
Also, I give amazing handies. But speaking of amazing handies,
it's true. I come an awful lot.
He really does. Honestly, it's a little bit awkward.
Is it wet in here? Is it raining? Like, what's happening?
Well, it's more like, is this sewage backing up or something? The room is just like very gradually filling with what appears to be sewage.
It's my love. Don't worry about it. Speaking about my love, let's go over to James C. UK. My brother from another mother. I left him, started a whole continent, and took some of the teen crumpets with me. What up, sir? How you doing?
Because that's what I eat, isn't it? That's the narrative on this channel.
But Bob's your uncle. Queen, pip pip, cheerio, shine your shoes.
You know,
chimney
you said
sweep.
about like not liking people.
Got him.
I'm James C UK. You can find me on my channel at James C UK. There may be there is going to be a rebranding by the end of the month.
Oh, you're swinging deep into James Cuck?
No, I'm ditching it entirely.
Yeah, your whole theory, your whole theme could be watch me get fucked, and that's how you.
I think that's.
And then you just play really hard games like that.
Hello. Should James Cuck gets fucked?
I might take that. That's not a bad idea. Anyway,
You'll be able to find me tomorrow night here at the same time, same back channel, playing Shadowrun.
Fuck yeah,
Cool.
Shadowrun, man. Oh, good. Such a good game. Having so much fun with that. Like, so much fucking fun. And the best part about it, too, is that YouTube is fucking loving that shit. Like, it's great. It's... Ah, man. Oof. Wreckage, I urge you to come, like, do, like, one... Actually, are you busy tomorrow, Wreckage? Want to come and play one episode of Shadowrun with us?
I'd love to, but I am actually busy tomorrow.
Damn. Because
maybe next week, but no promises.
Yeah, because we're gonna... Mr. Spoody's gonna be out, so...
oh, yeah, no, I just read that. I mean... I don't know. I don't actually know what my day looks like tomorrow, so why don't you, maybe if it's showtime and I'm around.
Oh, I mean, we'll need to build a character before you come on, because it takes a little
right.
bit of time, because it's fucking Shadowrun.
I
mean, I can build you one, and you can just play it. It's not a big deal. Like, you can also
just not have stats.
Shadowrun, though, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like I said, if we were actually playing Shadowrun, we'd still be making characters, perhaps.
Yeah, that would still be doing it 4 weeks in, and be like, okay, who's next?
All right, so we finished creating the reference sheet for this
I just wanted
character.
to throw a grenade. I just wanted to throw one single grenade.
Well, you threw it into a room with
man.
5 people, and it had some like electronics in there and some.
It was also like a maze, so there was only 3 walls, but then there was a gap and then another wall.
Hello,
and
my
then
name is Taylor China Shop Man, and welcome to my China shop.
and there's a ceiling, but there's not a floor.
Yeah.
It's like
Me
There
and
was
my
a trash can, so now there's shrapnel that we have to roll for each individual piece of shrapnel.
my bad guys that I hire in order to do crime out of my China shop is upstairs, and you just launched a grenade in here from 30 feet away. Has to go through 3 windows.
yeah.
We're making fun of how fucked up like original Shadowrun is when it comes to like simulating stupid shit. It's
Well, so
the
yeah,
worst.
the original Shadowrun, basically the creators were they just kept asking and answering questions. So it was like, oh, we threw a grenade into the thing. It's like, okay, how much damage does it do? This much. Yeah, okay. Well, what about like shrapnel? It's like, oh yeah, it's like well, we'll do a shrapnel system, so it'll go here, 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 and here. It's like, oh, okay. Well, what if it like lands in something and makes more shrapnel? And they're like, okay, yeah. So that way we can do items that make shrapnel. Great.
My
And
favorite.
then somebody else was like, oh, by the way, pressure from explosion can kill people, not just shrapnel.
Yeah.
So what is the pressure like in the room? And they're like, okay, so this is what an explosion does with pressure. And then somebody else was like, well, what if it's missing a wall? Or like has a door or a window, like that changes the pressure. And they're like, okay, so this is we'll do a system for figuring out what the space that you're in determines the pressure and the reverberation of the explosion.
Also, don't forget wind direction as well.
Right. So it's like, and they just kept asking
Though,
questions.
my favorite part of the entire Shadowrun mythos is people can have allergies to just mundane shit, and have like
And it's,
severe allergies. Like
Massive. It's like -4 to your dice roll.
it's like, yo, I'm allergic to plastic, and I can't even pick up a phone. I can't sit on
you
this
can't
bench.
touch anything in the entire world.
How much
Basically.
plastics does my
Anyway.
gloves have in them? Like,
Anyway, you can check me out at James the UK. I'm pondering on playing like Shadowrun Returns and play for all of
they
them.
did such a bad job with that. Like, they took a great universe and then just like, what if we make it terrible? And it's like,
I mean, some people like those games.
What about Dragonfall? I heard that's better, isn't it?
oh
not?
yeah, I guess. But like, they basically dumbed it down like so much. It's fucking.
The
dumb.
games have received both positive and negative reviews. The people who like them really like them. The people who don't like them tend to really dislike them.
There you go. Make that decision, James. That's the recommendation.
I will say I enjoyed the games, but they aren't.
Oh, I have
They
to
are-
read
they
shit
aren't
out.
Shadowrun.
I'm not very good at reading shit out. Fuck that.
yeah.
They are a Shadowrun setting with a lot of the mechanical heart of Shadowrun kind of just ripped out of them.
Holy fuck!
Karima.
Shadowrun XCOM game. Holy fuck, dude.
Oh yeah, buddy.
I would play that in a fucking heartbeat. Are you
I
kidding
would,
me?
and I would hate every goddamn second of it. I love it and hate it and love it some more.
Oh my god. Holy fuck. Someone needs to make that happen. Just like, yo, you can just bring in new Shadowrunners and you have to run like a Shadowrun like organization.
And you can level them up, but they also fucking die because fucking XCOM.
That is such a fucking... Oh my god. Anyway, guys, Wreckage. Let's talk about you for a minute, for a hot, sweaty moment.
Hi, I'm Dr. Wreckage. Everything in my life is falling apart, but there's still role-playing games.
Are you falling apart?
He is. He's losing
Yeah,
it.
actually, I am. Everything is awful, and it's never been worse. But I'm still doing shows, which you can find here Mondays and Wednesdays, for the time being, assuming that I maintain the capacity and ability to do so. I've been playing the Destiny because even though Destiny 1 was a total letdown on all fronts, everybody decided they were going to buy Destiny, and I'm not going to be the only person not playing the game with all of my friends who are playing that game.
I'm not playing it.
Not playing it.
I'm playing
Obviously, we are not Wreckage's friends, James.
Well, I didn't say you weren't my friends. It's just have we ever played a video game together? Either of you?
I'm up for it, Wreckage.
I played Roll20 with you, if that counts.
Why do you never make time for us?
Yeah.
I have all the time in the world. Why do you have a job and a relationship?
Yeah,
You know what,
stop being so socially adaptable, you know?
Yeah,
I say that-
that. In fairness, that's a solid point, Wreckage.
I'm not married.
Complaint withdrawn.
Yeah, exactly.
As the two married men
I'm
in the
married to my
room,
right hand.
Mrs. Palmer and her 5 daughters. Yeah. Palmer.
Like-
Hello, my name is Palmer Cock.
Occasionally I put lipstick on the nose.
Eric Vulgaris and I play a lot of PUBG, and we usually do it at the same time every night. And just in case, like I message him like 30 minutes beforehand, like, are we going to play PUBG tonight? Just so I know, not to start something else.
Yeah, but your tonight is like stupid o'clock in the morning for me.
Exactly.
Well, what I'm saying is, so Eric and I play that PUBG, and I message him every night. And some nights he's like, sorry, man, I'm out like partying or like schmoozing or having a good time with my girlfriend. And then he says, I'm sorry. And then he follows that with, like, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I'm out doing this. And every time I'm like, how dare you? How dare you have a social life? How dare you have a flourishing, healthy existence on this planet instead of hoveling in your room playing video games with me?
Remember when we were going to finish the show and you were like, bleh?
What I'm saying is that Eric says sorry too much. And none of you should be sad for having social lives and not an infinite amount of free.
life.
Well, whatever you have. I feel the same way.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. If you did, consider following the channel. And if you're feeling real saucy, why not subscribe, join the cockpit, get access to the best of merch on Twitch, and a bunch of other stuff. What's coming up in the near future? Tomorrow we have Die Party Surge, week number 3. It's going to be fucking great. We've gone open world in that now, so I'm going to give them a couple of options as to what type of things they want to do, and then they can just go do it. It's going to be great. Maybe Reki will come in and do like a guest spot, and we'll shoot him in the face and kill him at the end of the episode. It's going to be
No
cool.
promises, but maybe.
Yeah. And what else? So we're going to have a Die Party Fan Day on the 4th of November, I think. I'll have to confirm with the wife to make sure that Saturday is okay. And we're going to be doing back-to-back episodes of Shadowrun Anarchy, because it's an absolute joy to GM that game. So I don't know how we're going to do sign-ups, but I'm going to open it up. Yeah, I guess on Discord, nominate yourself. I'm going to put up some times for when that's going to happen. And we're just going to keep playing until we can't play. And then starting...
off, yeah?
Yeah, and then starting maybe like in November, maybe we'll start in December, just to see how it goes. Maybe we'll cap it off at 3 games, at 3 hours each, and And in December, we'll start putting in like ways of extending that, depending on like donations and shit. So that, I mean, that's the entire premise of that show, is to get donation drives happening and stuff like that. So, do you need RPG knowledge to join? Not really. The game is pretty fucking easy to play. Just an imagination is really all you need. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you soon for the daily stream. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.